effectively against Malphite, but the lane can go either way depending on ganks.
Hmm.
Udyr is another person that can outtrade that Olaf just by going heavy into that Tiger stance and putting a lot of damage that way. So it does look like we're seeing a lot of swap arounds. It'll take us a moment to figure out exactly what's going on here. For the moment being, it still looks like West Rice is top with with Hecarim, and it looks like Olaf is in the jungle, but I'm almost positive those will be swapping about just based on these summoners.
Yeah, yeah, almost certainly. We'll have to just see. It's definitely going to be a fun game. I'm going to be interested to see kind of the interactions here. It looks like MTW has a lot of team fight potential. You know, the Morgana ultimate, the Malphite ultimate, of course, the Ezreal ultimate, which is good. It's a nice little spread damage, gives him a nice little boost to his attack speed going in. And then Udyr, very powerful single target to go in there and clean up with those Tiger stance. Prox with a Z.
And yeah, and so we are into the final stages here. Everyone has swapped up. It is going to be West Rice top lane, Hecarim in the jungle, Malphite in the jungle, Udyr top lane, and Udyr does have really great cleaning up potential. We saw that in the CLG Black games, where it seemed like the fights were going against CLG Black, and then suddenly Udyr and Shen were still alive, and they were able to take out the rest of the side from Curse. So really, potentially very strong combination there with the Malphite and Udyr going into the back lines. Morgana also being able to sneak into the back lines, throw down a Soul Shackles, use that Zhonya's Hourglass, and we tend to see Mandatory Cloud building that Hourglass very, very early, normally as their first core item.
Yeah. All right, so we're just going to wait for the rest of this delay. We are going to head over to just a couple of adverts, and then we will be in the game shortly. So I will see you guys on the other side. About a minute and a half here to go. We do have some ads, but if you are one of those lucky individuals that is in a country where you don't get ads, hello. And we should be getting into this game pretty shortly here. Oh my goodness, this tea is amazing.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. We do see, Saint Vicious running attack speed and armor pen runes and movement speed for that jungle Hecarim. Both of the AP middles are actually playing very aggressive rune pages with AP per level. So
Huh.
that's not incredibly unusual to see. But Karthus, yeah, running both in his blues and yellows, AP per level, flat AP on those quintessences, and actually is running tier 2 quintessences, the Halloween tier 2 quintessences, which are just, slightly worse than tier 3 quintessences, but still, it is amusing to see a professional player who is, starting down 1 AP below their opposition just because they actually haven't purchased those tier 3 AP runes. So interesting to see there. Mandatory Cloud doing somewhat of the same, but actually running a little bit of mana regen as well in those seals.
Yeah, there you go. It's actually pretty fascinating. That's interesting. Something I don't typically even look at, which I really should. So on that note, we are just about to load into this game. I will be right back, and I will be back with load steps. I am so back, so Terry. Don't even panic.
Okay, great. Well, I wasn't sure if we were still live and didn't know if it was worthwhile talking, but we did see only 1 of 5 skins from Curse, and that's kind of disappointing. Like, Curse, is a very big team, very professional team, has a lot of backers and sponsors. I would expect more skins, but only the Phantom Lord Karthus. For mTw.NA, we have a couple more skins, and it looks like a little bit of early aggression for their side as well.
Yes, as I try to set up my little name labels here instead of talking. Curtis Blue. Easy. No, that's not right. Something's not right here. Something's not right here. There we go. That is so weird that it's off. That's okay. We will deal with it. We have a little bit of positioning here, of course, by mTw. They want to try to see if they can catch somebody out. Try to catch somebody coming up here, maybe to do this nice little ward that supports have been doing fairly often now. But you see that Curse is doing a nice job just kind of spreading out. They've got the zone defense set up, so to speak.
And I'm really interested to see this jungle Hecarim from St. Vicious. I think I've seen it on his stream before. I don't believe I've seen it in competitive play, but he is starting out with a regrowth pendant and health potion. That'll mean he's rushing towards that early Philosopher's Stone, get those early GP10s rolling, and his general build on Hecarim is 2 GP10s into Frozen Heart, really relying just on the base damage from Hecarim to really cause disruption to the back lines.
Yeah, and Hecarim is definitely good at that job. He just has the ability to get that move speed so high, and that ultimate is pretty devastating. So definitely going to be looking forward to seeing his performance. Something to definitely focus on as we get into this game. Looks like it's going to be a standard start. No action from either side, although Mandatory Cloud's still pretty aggressively positioned here.
It looks like they might come in just to try to harass the blue buff. That does seem to be what is going to happen here.
They're just going to help a little bit, give it a little bit more damage onto that golem.
Although it was being leashed back towards Mandatory Cloud, which could have been a problem had St. Vicious not smited it early. It could have potentially leashed back towards the other side, but nothing too bad is going to come from that. No jungles were slowed down immensely, and everyone is just heading back to their lanes and going to continue farming up. In fact, it was a little bit of a disadvantage from mTw.NA because Rain Man and Mandatory Cloud got into their lanes a little bit late, allowed their opposition to get a couple farm free before they even got there.
Yeah, and small advantages can certainly add up. Hopefully that's not too devastating for them. Morgana is very good at kind of getting caught up on that CS, so not too worried about her. We do see in the bottom lane, a lot of action potentially going to come out here. Nunu can be a very aggressive support with those snowballs like we talked about early, especially while Soraka can't quite heal through all of the harassment. Any kind of net harassment you get after the heal, very, very good.
It is good, but then it's going to be, a good, 15 to 20 seconds before she can heal again, but eventually the heal is going to come in, and, he will be back up to full life. At level 1 and 2, of course, those are Soraka's weakest levels because the Astral Blessing only heals about 70, and it actually doubles in effectiveness at level 2 all the way up to 140. So, as long as they can survive for those first couple levels, they do pretty good. So far, Graves is kind of moving on a little bit ahead here, getting a little bit more farm than Ezreal, but it has evened out over these last couple of minions.
Yeah, definitely so. I don't expect any super early action really anywhere. We have that Soraka in that bottom lane along with the Ezreal, who's very good at kind of getting out of danger, as well as 2 fairly tanky top laners here. So it's really going to come down to if a jungler kind of wants to start some action somewhere. That's really going to be the only trigger point for it. You see Udyr putting out some harassment onto Olaf, but Olaf not too afraid of trading.
Yeah, not too afraid of trading, but Olaf is already almost out of mana. Rain Man really, in kind of a better position there. We do see St. Vicious coming in, but Smithy is there as well, and actually forcing the flash out of St. Vicious did have the ignite go down on him, and they just, uses that horse to run on away. So kind of a dangerous position there for everyone on Curse. Flash blown, Ghost blown from Westrice, Flash actually still up on the Rain Man, so he still has escapes, but he doesn't have that ignite. Westrice also used the ignite, so everything kind of going standard. Smithy is the only one who got out, unharmed, unscathed, and he's actually able to just roll back into his forest and continue farming up.
Yeah, so good for him. Good that Hecarim doesn't have his flash up now. They're kind of relatively safe from a lot of his super aggressive ganks. He really wants to go in deep, and that flash kind of is a really important tool in that kit to be able to do those very, very aggressive style ganks.
And I've seen this more and more. Professional teams are getting so good at being there for the counter gank. So we saw in that instance, Malphite was moving up towards top lane. I was like, oh, why is he moving up towards top lane? Obviously, the Rain Man is pushing. He's really winning that lane. It doesn't look like Westrice is going to be in a position where he's going to allow himself to be ganked. But then we saw Hecarim moving up that way, and I realized, oh, he was heading up there just to protect Rain Man from the eventual gank that was likely going to come in there. So really good show. And yeah, now Rain Man just going to keep on farming up, and actually has Ward in protection up there, and I don't know exactly who placed that down or when it was placed down. Obviously, Rain Man has not headed back thus far.
Yeah, I imagine it must have been Malphite then. We do see a very early Cage's Lucky Pick picked up here on Morgana. That's going to be nice for her. She's going to get that ball rolling. She wants to get the farm going as much as possible. Also chilling on a very nice 4-pot. She started 4-pot as well, which is a little bit unusual for me, but I guess whatever works for you.
Well, a lot of AP middles have been going utility, have been going, up the utility masteries, and then running GP10 items. I don't know how many she will run, though.
I'm going to guess 8 or 9. Seems like a reasonable number of GP10s to rush. And no, of course, she probably. We're going to see if she still wants to pick up that Heart of Gold. Is kind of the big question right now. After that patch, the health gain on it a little bit nerfed, and we're going to see if she still thinks it's a wise investment or not. But it is a pretty key component, I think, in the kind of GP10 set. Gives you that survivability that the other ones are really lacking. Philosopher's Stone, as well as Cage's Lucky Pick, just not giving you much to live with.
Yes, top lane Rayman still doing a lot of work, farming up pretty good. He's actually 11 CS ahead of Westrice, and it looks like Xmithy wanted to make a gank there, but a great thing about Xmithy is he actually didn't pick up any potions in his first route through the jungle, and did place that early ward for the Rain Man, so that is always very nice. And down bottom we finally see that the lane combination from Curse is actually forced back, so they weren't able to pick up a kill. They were farming pretty well, but now they're going to have to be forced back, and Ezreal and Soraka are going to be able to push this lane real quick and then head back themselves and buy, and zone the opposition out of a little bit of farm as well.
Yeah, we do see Ezreal already up on CS before that back, and now they're going to continue to press this into the tower. That turret going to take a lot of CS away from Graves. That's a very dangerous position from the B in, and a really nice timing for them to go ahead and back by and then come back to lane. Fully recharged with those nice fun items, and going to put the pressure back on Graves as soon as they get back.
So they were forced back. Nunu was not able to pick up any sort of, big ticket item, has those boots, has the Fairy Charm, but unfortunately does not have a GP10 item yet. Soraka, on the other hand, is able to pick up that early Philosopher's Stone, is going to be accruing a lot more money, over the passage of time thanks to that, and picked up a couple wards as well. So we already see 3 GP10s built up for mTw.NA there. Kage's Lucky Pick, Heart of Gold, and Philosopher's Stone. On the other side, we do have 2. We have the one on top lane Olaf with that Philosopher's Stone, and one on Hecarim as well. I'm a little bit concerned for Westrice, though, because he's losing these trades against Olaf. I don't know that Philosopher's Stone is really going to help him sustain better in that lane.
Yeah, that's always kind of the danger of those GP10 is, well, I'm not doing that great in my lane. I want to have the GP10 to be there to bring me into the late game, but it also hurts my late game even more, so it can be a difficult decision as to whether or not you want to go for it.
And we will see Rayman, of course, going with the double Dorans and Ninja Tabi, so he's going kind of the earlier game build. Certainly will be more threatening, and Westrice at this point is, kind of content or forced to just sit back and throw axes.
Yeah, we do see both Hecarim and Malphite are level 6 now. They both have those very strong ganking ultimates. We're going to have to see where they can use them and when. They want to use them as soon as possible to kind of secure a kill, or at least some kind of really strong counter gank. They want to make sure that they're using them very powerfully, very early.
We do see Morgana has actually saved up 1,600 gold, and I'm interested to see whether she's going to go back and buy a needlessly large rod right off the bat, or whether she'll get a little bit of life to help her sustain herself. And we do see, aggressive positioning by Xmithy, but he is spotted out by Nia Jackie there. I feel like, all the lanes do have a little bit more possibility being ganked for mTw.NA, just because Morgana is going to be pretty safe from ganks. Udyr seems to be kind of controlling his lane up top, and down bottom they seem to be healthy every time I look down there, so not too great of an option to gank a lane against that Soraka when everyone seems to be healed up just fine.
Yeah, we are approaching the 10-minute mark here. No kills, no even real close kills or anything like that. As I say that, we have a little bit of action here bottom. Hecarim going in for this gank. Going to try to secure the kill on balls. We do see the Karthus ultimate coming out as well. That will guarantee the kill, but he actually won't get the assist. That's a little bit painful for Karthus, but of course he's glad that they secure that first kill of the game.
Yep, they do secure the first kill, but Hecarim goes down as well, and now we see Xmithie just hanging down in the background, perhaps hoping that the cursed bottom lane is going to dive on Muffin Cutie. Muffin Cutie is just hanging around there, trying to be tempting to the opposition, but they don't want to go in after him. Instead, they're just going to, push to the turret and head on back. So the gold difference is actually still 200 gold in favor of mTw.NA, despite the fact that they did lose first blood there. Their AD carry did go down. Overall, you would think a disadvantage to them, but the farm in the other lanes is going in the favor of mTw.NA, and I'm actually looking at that now. Karthus is actually a little bit up, 110 to 103 over Morgana, so the difference is not there. It's mainly top lane, where Rain Man has 89 farm to the 51 farm of Olaf. Now Olaf does have 2 GP10s running, but that's definitely not going to make up the difference. The total gold at the moment sits at 2450 for Olaf to 3050 for the Rain Man.
And White Jackie in a little bit of danger here. Morgana choosing to use the ultimate. Malphite's still following. Oh, Morgana actually getting the proc as well as hitting the Q on it, and I expect Jackie to actually die here. Malphite going to use the ultimate just to secure the kill. A very nice kill there on Karthus. We did also see on bottom lane, it looks like Nunu got a kill on Soraka. I'm going to go ahead and, if I can remember how to back up. Oh, there we go. No, that's not right. Where'd my button go? Where'd my button go? Whatever, let's click. Let's click.
So yeah, just an exchange of kills there, middle lane and for the bottom lane support. And it looked like, they might be heading towards Dragon. They decided to back off of that. But overall, still 2-2, still very, very close. 12 minutes into the game, not too much has happened as of yet.
Not too much. And of course, going through that replay just confuses me because then the kill indicators pop up again. I felt like I missed 1,000 things, but I didn't. That's okay.
You've missed nothing else.
Oh my goodness. So we do see it looks like Malphite's just going to come in here, do a little bit of a a Wraith Steal, and just waddle on out of there. He is a giant blue demon. Very, very intimidating.
Yeah, I do love that Glacial Malphite skin. Has great effects with it, and he's doing pretty darn good in the jungle. He's about 5 CS behind the Hecarim, but is sitting at 1-0, has those 2 GB10s, is going to be, plenty sturdy for that late game, and that ultimate, that unstoppable force is so devastating to the AD carries when you get into the team fights. In conjunction with the ground slam, really just inhibits the AD carry's ability to farm, or to rather do damage throughout the course of a team fight, and top lane really still not going great for Olaf.
Yeah, Olaf having a lot of trouble. At this point, it's very difficult for him to even harass the Rain Man. That Turtle Sand's going to be enough to really let him trade effectively, and of course the Tiger to dish out the damage right back into his face. So a little bit of an awkward position for him, and it's going to be very difficult from the gank. We do see some action here. Bottom looks like another Karthus ultimate's coming out. Ball's going to get low, but not quite going to be able to secure the kill. Hecarim going for the kill, and they are going to go ahead and just get it there.
I think you might be a little bit behind me as well, so you might want to jump and make sure you're all the way forward. It was kind of interesting because it looked like Muffin Cutie wanted to help pick up the kill on St. Vicious once again. Of course, they got the kill the previous time when they dove the turret. Oh, in middle, it looks like Nijak is going to go down again, so a lot of aggression from Morgana, able to secure that kill, did pick up that needlessly large rod, and it's pretty low herself, but is going to be able to survive, heal up that spell vamp, that tormented soil on all those minions, and do a pretty stellar job. And is still 14 farm behind, but is doing pretty darn good in that lane. Karthus now, eating 2 deaths.
Yeah, and that's actually really, really important. It's very painful for one, if you're not getting those kills with that ultimate, and two, you're also dying in lane. It's going to set his farm back quite a bit, and Karthus wants to get as strong as he can going into the mid game. It's super important that when he engages in those team fights, he's able to melt people as much as possible. Really wants to finish people off with that ultimate as much as he can.
We do see that Koff has already picked up his Bloodthirster, so that is, a pretty stellar item for so early on, and they're not worried about the burst of that, lane, that Ezreal and Soraka lane, so he doesn't really have to pick up Doran's Blades or a Phage or anything like that to give him extra life. Instead, he's just going for a full sustain build, and that seems to be suiting him pretty well so far. Has caught up in farm, has actually exceeded him in farm, and holds 3 of the 4 kills for his team, Nunu picking up the other one. So, so far there's been a lot of aggression, helped out by the jungle ganks down bottom, and jungle ganks down bottom, in addition to the Karthus ultimates, has been really what's been picking up kills for them. And so I suspect we'll see more of that. Top lane has been kind of an island. It tends to be an island like that, but more so this game than in many previous games. Rain Man just willing to farm up. But we do see that Olaf Westrice looks to be moving towards Dragon, so there might be a full team move towards Dragon.
Yeah, we do see Hecarim coming in here. He does have flash as well as his ultimate. I'm not sure if he wants to engage on this or not. Looks like Ezreal's going to ult and kind of scare them away, but it looks like they're still forming up here for some kind of engagement. As we
yeah,
said,
it looks like they just
switching it right on the dragon.
Take the dragon.
Yeah, we'll go kill
yeah,
the
and
dragon.
Curse knows that they're a man up. They know that Rain Man's not here to potentially take it away, so they just go ahead and take it. And Rain Man's just going to be content farming up top, but he's probably not even going to take the top turret. I mean, he is winning that lane, so sometimes when you're winning the lane, you don't really want to take the turret. He's still about 50 CS ahead. I mean, so things are going incredibly well for him, but at the same time, he just allow the opposing team to pick up that dragon, really uncontested. Of course, there was a little bit of fighting going on. There could have been a potential steal. That top turret will likely go down. There are a lot of minions attacking it, but now Westrice is back. He's going to throw out that axe. Will probably be able to save it. Oh, no, he does not. So it was close, but there was no saving of that turret. And now Westrice, doesn't really have the safety of that turret to fall back to. We'll see if Rayman's going to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it looks like they might be setting something up here on Jackie once getting made. We do have both the Malphite as well as that Morgana. Mandatory Cloud just barely going to miss that Q, and Karthus is going to live to see another day.
Right, we do have that Oracle pickup on Xsmithy already, so that is a great pickup. Meanwhile, St. Vicious, no pickup. He's actually going more defensive oriented. Has already picked up a Glacial Shroud. Looks like he's building that straight into a Frozen Heart. As I mentioned earlier, loves to get that cooldown reduction. Also loves that little bit of tankiness and relying on those base stats of Hecarim to really do a lot of damage. So yeah, so far still relatively even. Curse has picked up a slight lead thanks to that dragon, is about 700 gold ahead.
Yeah, and something that we know right now, St. Vicious does have that ultimate flash combo. It really lets him kind of dive a tower anytime he wants, so they're no longer safe here in bot lane if they get caught out, or in this middle lane if they really want to go for a dive. And they have to play very, very carefully. Also something to note, we do see Comp is going for the smoke screen build, where he levels that up as well as getting that Bloodthirster. Lets him output a little bit more damage without having to rely on auto-attacking early.
Yeah, I do find that a little bit interesting because, of course, he has the synergy with Nunu. If he is going to auto-attack more, he's going to reset his quick draw. He gets that Blood Boil from Nunu. Obviously, that is already level 4. Gives him an extra 55% attack speed. So I find that interesting that he is going for Smokescreen instead of the quick draw, but not too incredibly strange. We do see up top Rayman really going aggressive on Westrice. Westrice just going to run away, has to throw out those axes to, protect himself, but he's not able to farm up in that top lane, basically at all. Every time he tries to go up there, Rayman just pushes him out. It's still about a 50 CS lead for the Rayman, building into that Trinity Force. Morgana, we see, has picked up that Zhonya's Hourglass, tends to rush that. One concern is, bottom lane does not yet have that Trinity Force, and really isn't incredibly close to picking it up either. Still has to go about 1,600 gold left to build up that Sheen, which is 1,260, and then the combined cost is 300. So still has quite a while to go before Ezreal is going to pick that up. And Curse doing a lot of damage to that bottom turret as well. I mean, I think it would be a really great thing for Curse if they actually took the turret, because this is a lane they generally don't win. They have had the opportunity to win it thanks to all those Hecarim ganks and the assists from Karthus ultimate.
Yeah, we are seeing the Hecarim coming in here. Start playing the Jaws music because he is on the hunt. Muffin Cutie in a lot of danger right now. That's Soraka. Has to be very, very careful with her positioning. And we do have Malphite here as well. This could be a very nice team fight down here at the bottom for either team. Looks like St. Vicious is going to go in, putting out a lot of damage on the Muffin Cutie. The Karthus ultimate is going to secure the kill. But we do see a nice counter initiation there by Malphite. Going to be able to do some damage and get a kill onto the Hecarim, but it looks like that's going to be just about it, unless Balls really wants to go deep on this. Looks like he does, but he is going to pay for it. Nunu ultimate going to be enough to get the kill onto Ezreal, and just not a very good trade there. Looks like Morgana really wants to get the kill on Cop, is going to secure it, as well as the kill on Element. Very, very well played there by Mandatory Cloud, not using the ultimate, not using the Q on Graves, knowing that she needed to use it to kill that Nunu. Very nice, very nice.
And actually, yeah, I thought, she must have used her ultimate on Graves, but I think instead just decided to ignite Graves and then
Mm-hmm.
still actually has the ultimate in her back pocket,
Yep.
landed the Q on Nunu, so was able to assist Malphite in that respect, but actually didn't have to, burn her ultimate. So now comes back to mid lane and is still very dangerous to Karthus as well. So really a great exchange coming down there. And, Balls did kind of dive in pretty deep there. Perhaps he could have been a little bit more defensive, wouldn't have gone down. And he did have red buff, which would have been really nice for him to keep a hold of,
Mm-hmm.
going on into the future. But he has picked up the Trinity Force. Obviously, Mandatory Cloud getting a double kill there, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, no, definitely very nice job. The two things that a lot of people, when they feel like they're playing very well, but they're losing a lot of games, and they don't realize about their plays, either they're not getting kills that they could get, or they're using too much to get them. And that Morgana is a perfect example of saving that ultimate, just using the Ignite as well as a Q to pick up that double kill down there.
And now it's sitting at 3-0. And really, Karthus has been doing a lot of work using that ultimate to help pick up kills in that bottom lane, but I feel like Morgana just turned around all of that advantage by heading down there and actually being down there in person and picking up that double kill. So Karthus sitting at 1-2-3, Morgana at 3-0-1. And, I feel like the bottom lane a little bit more evened out. It is going to be hard to really zone that, zone Graves out at this point because he is so built up, does have that Bloodthirster, does have a Zeal now. At the same time, he built the Bloodthirster instead of going for the more traditional route, that Trinity or that Infinity Edge route, which is going to make him a little bit weaker on late game.
Yeah, so we're going to see exactly how he chooses to build out of that. It does give him a lot of nice advantage here in mid-game, but they kind of haven't been able to really press it too much yet. We're going to see if he's a little bit better going into this. It is 6-6 right now. The gold is very, very close together. The dangerous part is that a lot of the gold here for mTw is actually on that Morgana.
Right, and we might see the Rain Man actually coming down to this dragon now. Westrice is still up top, seems to be heading down towards the dragon, but Rain Man just picked up his Trinity Force, which is a big ticket item. So they have Trinity Force, they have Zonia's and Abyssal on Morgana, and they have that Trinity Force as well on Ezreal. So they really have a lot of big ticket items. They really can decide to fight this and will likely do a very great job in this upcoming team fight.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are kind of looking for initiation here. We do have an Ezreal. The blue team does manage to get the dragon kill, but Element's caught out here, taking a lot of damage. We do see that Grim ultimate doing a lot of work, but not enough to secure any kills. They are moving away from there. Jackie going to get caught out. Will he be able to secure any kills with the ultimate? Looks like Muffin Cutie is going to go down, and Westrice is running away. He's got 3 people surrounding him. His positioning is very dangerous here, and he is going to go down before getting a kill on Balls. And St. Vicious just going to have to run away.
Yeah, so a really great fight from mTw.NA. They lost the dragon. Cop did pick up the kill on the dragon, 2150, so that'll be back up in 6 minutes at 2750. But the ensuing team fight went incredibly in favor of mTw.NA. So Curse is really going to have to worry about that going into the future. And really the only one to escape was St. Vicious, and he doesn't do an incredible amount of damage. He's supposed to be that damage soak, but the mTw.NA was really just able to ignore him. He did do a lot of damage. I think he might have taken out Morgana in that fight, but in the end, he's essentially ignorable, past a certain point. He has the ultimate to give a little bit of disruption, but after that, all he does is run around and do a little bit of damage, pretty decent consistent damage, but insofar as being a damage soak, there's nothing that really forces you to attack him the entire time.
Yeah, I wish that the Karthus and Hecarim initiations were a little bit more in sync. The problem is that Hecarim goes so fast and goes so deep so very, very quickly that it's hard for Karthus to actually initiate with him. And once you have that big damage ball just kind of sitting on top of their team, you can really melt people very, very quickly. And taking people out of the fight as quickly as possible, somebody like a Soraka on the other team, is very, very important. Otherwise, she starts getting those sustained spells off, and it's very, very difficult to actually deal with.
Yeah. And another thing in that fight was, it could have gone bad for mTw.NA because they actually gave up the ultimate of Ezreal. Balls tried to essentially steal the dragon with this ultimate. We are seeing a dive down bottom, but Malphite is coming in for the counter gank as well.
Yeah, looks like St. Vicious is in a dangerous position here. X-Smithy absolutely trying to get the cop as hard as he can. Might lose his oracles here, and that's going to be an expensive death if he does. Flashes away. Nice little heal by Soraka, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. X-Smithy just barely going to die here. He's running as much as he can, but will he be able to at least get a counter kill to make them pay for it? Balls does manage to pick up the kill on Cop, and it looks like St. Vicious is in a very dangerous position here as well. Going to go down to Balls.
And I don't know. I'm not sure if that wish was just a little bit too late. It seemed like the wish was being held on to kind of bait them in deeper and deeper, but I think it could have been used a little bit early and could have healed Xmithy. Maybe I'll have to take a look back at that because that doesn't seem like a mistake Muffin Cutie would make. So I might have just, misseen it, or it might have gone off right at the right time. But anyways, Xmithy did go down. They lost the Oracle, but they did take a 2-for-1. So that's probably a win for them. It certainly is a win for them with the assist gold accounted for. And top lane, man, Rain Man just really doing a lot of damage to Olaf, to Westrice, really just being beastly up there. Of course, has that core item built, and Olaf really only has, a lot of, lower tier items built so far.
Yeah, and today players are really kind of reminding us of why Udyr can actually be a very strong force in that top lane. We do see he's caught in a little bit of a bad position here. Karthus as well as Olaf, but they are just going to go ahead and go back into that blue. But he's not quite done with them yet. Running into 3 players, he's going to get the Hecarim ult. Not quite hitting on to him, but he's in a dangerous position. Xmithy using that ultimate to try to peel for him. And they can't even decide if they want to go in or not, it seems like. They're kind of juking in and out on the Rain Man. Ezreal trying to throw out that ultimate in case they need a little bit of extra damage. But it looks like Curse is going to get out of here unless they want to go and save Vicious. They do not, and they're going to back off, and they're posturing right here around Baron.
Oh, and that was a quick return to Baron. Of course, they do have that Oracle on Malphite, so they know that they're not being watched, and it doesn't look like Curse has any idea this is going on.
Yeah, they're certainly not showing it. They are suspecting something right now. They haven't seen anybody on the other team in a little bit here, so they're going to move towards Baron. Will they be able to get this Baron in time? And are they going to win the subsequent team fight? Looks like a lot of action. Same Fish is very deep, going to get picked off very, very quickly. Nunu Ultimate has nice position and going to catch at least balls here. Does a lot of damage to him, but NY Jackie going to go down, and Curse Element's going to get hunted here by the Rain Man as well as Balls. Has enough HP to barely survive here on Balls. Can't get cut out by Cop, but it looks like it's not going to happen. And actually does get picked off between the Olaf and the just the damage
Collateral
that came
damage,
out.
I think. Yeah. Longer range than you would expect. Mandatory Cloud, using that Zonius to survive a little bit longer, is going to be taken down. So it ends up being a 3-for-3, but of course mTw.NA does pick up that Baron. Westrice, comes in at the end and is able to, really help turn the tide of the fight, but it was of course after the enemy team had that Baron, and I think Xmithy just really had to go back before that. Same with the Rain Man. They're like, oh, we're low from doing Baron, so we're just going to head that back now. So they weren't able to be, a really strong force through that team fight.
Yeah, we do see the Xmithy ultimate coming out onto Cop, and going to be enough to secure a kill with the combination of the stun from the Rain Man. And now Westrice, does he have the tools to get out of there? I actually don't think he does. He's going to get beat up here until he gets dissolved. Very, very nice play by the Rain Man and Xmithy. They are a force to be reckoned with that ultimate and stun combination.
Yeah, they are an incredibly strong, combo that's able to dive into the back lines, and we saw how much damage they were able to do. Of course, Rayman 5-0, Xmithy 2-1, and I actually did go back and check out the the bottom skirmish, and unfortunately, the ultimate from Muffin Cutie did go off a second too late. There is actually a delay on Wish, where if you cast it, it still takes a half second before the heal actually goes off. So I think it was casted perfectly on time, but it wasn't actually used in sufficient time to save Xmithy earlier. Would it have been enough to save him? Who knows? But things are still going pretty well for mTw.NA. 17-12. They are 4,000 gold in the lead. They have Ezreal with the the Infinity Edge now. So previously I mentioned how Graves had built up that Bloodthirster, and that tends to be, a great mid-game item, but once you get into the later game, you really prefer the Infinity Edge, whereas Ezreal going that Trinity Force into the Infinity Edge is a really great build. It looks like both of the AD carries will be building a Last Whisper next, so that will be great, and, mTw.NA is going to get a free Baron, or free Dragon, rather. Of course, they have the Baron still on Xmithy and still on Udyr, so there's not really anything Curse can do at this point to really challenge those undefended points. Any point that isn't a tower, they don't really feel comfortable in defending yet. So we'll see what their strategy is. They kind of have to wait the Baron buff out, even though it is only on Rain Man and Xmithy. That's still two people you don't want it on, because it means that they're going to be able to sit in the back lines and just do infinite damage to Cop, to Elements, to Nia Jackie, and so far we've seen really Rayman just running amok in those back lines, being able to do so much damage.
Yeah, we do see initiation by St. Fishes once again, not afraid of going very, very deep. Rayman taking a ton of damage right now. We do see Xmithy going with the ultimate, trying to peel for him. You see how long Rayman is actually staying alive. A lot of damage. Balls has arrived to pump out the damage on the Cop. Cop going to have to flash away, get way out of there. Not going to be able to put any damage for a little bit here. He does dash back into the fight, doing a lot of damage on Cop. But Cop is going to go down, and Westrice is in a lot of damage with Karthus ultimate. Just barely not enough to get this kill on Rain Man, and they are going to survive just barely. xMtw and Rain Man. St. Vicious going in being so brave, but just, you know, you see how long the Rain Man is actually able to survive with that turtle stance and the combination of having, you know, a decent HP pool to begin with.
Well, not only that, but Rayman did a great job kiting around and, you know, not dying over the course of that fight. And obviously Malphite is still alive, Soraka is still alive, but Rayman also still has his Guardian Angel. So, you know, kiting around was probably the best idea overall. He's still going to have that Guardian Angel for this next fight as well. But, you know, even had he died, he would have come back with an extra 700 life and still would have been able to go into those back lines. So certainly they can't focus on Rain Man, but at the same time he's doing so much damage, is 7-0. I'm interested in seeing what his next pickup will be. He has 2,600 gold to spend. So he has kind of his pick of the litter. You know, Hex Drinker is never a bad item when you're going against, you know, a Karthus matchup, because he'll save you from those ultimates, but he could even go, you know, another damage item and get away with it at this point because he can't be focused. Balls does so much damage that he really needs to be taken down first, and we are seeing a Wit's End pickup, so that'll certainly be good as well. Gives that extra little bit of magic resistance, extra attack speed, and of course extra damage overall. So that is a nice pickup for him. In the last matchup, I really liked what we saw. We saw Mandatory Cloud run in there with his ultimate using that Zonias, but at the same time Nijaki then used their Zonias to block the second proc of Soul Shackles, so kind of a battle of those Zonias, and we also see the Deathfire Grass coming down on Nijaki, or not Nijaki, rather on Mandatory Cloud, which was really used to pretty good effect, you know, taking Nijaki very, very low at the outset of that fight, but in the end, you know, another fight towards mTw.NA. They are now, you know, a good 6,000, almost 7,000, almost 8,000 gold up. My math is terrible. I can't do, you know, simple subtraction, but they are in the lead, and they have a, you know, substantial margin right now that they can work with. And yeah, I liked how manly St. Vicious was, and Balls was kind of cut off from the rest of the team, so it was a good initiation. It was just that they're already pretty far behind, and Rayman is already doing so much more work than is Olaf at this point in the game.
Yeah, we also saw Balls had very good positioning against Cop in that fight. You know, he really kind of forced him to back off and come back in, and that caused him a lot of damage, you know, in the meantime while he is running away. Looks like no team really wants to actually do a hard initiation here. St. Vicious, of course, positioned very, very aggressively. If he decides he wants to go in, he wants to have that position. A lot of really nice vision here by mTw. They're very, very aware exactly where Curse is. Look, they are going to go in with a very, very nice Malphite of catching the entire team, and my Jackie trying to put on as much damage as possible. Mandatory Cloud doing a very nice ultimate, going to catch him out and absolutely dissolve that Karthus. West Rice in a very bad position as well. Mandatory Cloud, will he be able to survive? Oh, just barely getting dissolved by that. West Rice, we see a lot of action coming over here as well. Cop actually dying to that Malphite, but then Malphite going down. A trade he will take any day of the week. And so an amazing initiation there by mTw. You saw just how great their vision was, just coupled with that very, very nice Malphite ultimate.
Right, and Rayman knew, okay, well I have to be on the other side of this wall because everyone else on my team can jump over that wall, but I'm not going to be able to jump over that wall. So he was kind of out there, kind of baiting them, and of course those wards really let xMtw know when he could jump over, you know, land that beautiful, beautiful unstoppable force. Of course, it was preceded by the True Shot Barrage from Balls, and really just a lot of burst AoE damage right off the bat, and another great team fight from mTw.NA. And Rayman still has the Guardian Angel, still running around, still pretty happy about that, and has an extra 1,000 gold. Ezreal actually has 3,500 gold at this point, is actually going to buy a Guardian Angel of his own. It looks like we might even see a Guardian Angel coming down from Malphite. It could be a Guardian Angel. Actually, I think that, it actually could be a Sunfire Cape, which would be more likely, seeing as how he already has that Giant's built up. So, you know, a complete tank Malphite, Randuin's Omen, Frozen Heart, looks to be a Sunfire Cape, and Ninja Tabi. So, at this point, he cannot be killed by anyone doing physical damage. We did see him dive pretty deep through the turret there. Has 357 armor, though. That is an incredible amount.
Yeah, armor's pretty good on Malphite, I heard.
Yeah,
not sure
he scales pretty decently with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. So now we do see a lot of posturing come up. Of course, Baron is back up, and this is going to be a very, very important point in the fight now, or point in the game, I should say. Now, about 8.5k behind here for Curse. Do they want to initiate? They have the entire teams are both here, and it looks like Hecarim is going to look to go in here. Hasn't blown his ultimate quite yet. It's going to get absolutely dissolved, blows it off to move a little bit to the side, and just going to be absolutely Jackie going to be taken out, I should say. Ball's trying to get away from West Rice as much as he can. Very nice ultimate by Morgana, going to do absolute work. It looks like this fight is going downhill very, very quickly for Curse. Cop going to get caught out a little bit here by the Rain Man, going to get that nice stun and chase him down. down. I don't see Cop getting out of here. A nice binding by Morgana, going to be enough to finish that kill. Element's getting out of there, but at the end of the day, Element's not going to be able to do much to stop the push that mTw is now gonna do.
Right, and there's 30 seconds left on all of the spawn timers. Karth is up in 25 seconds, but that's just not going to be enough time, or it is going to be enough time for mTw.NA just to finish this game off. So really just another stellar showing by mTw.NA, and you kind of have to wonder, that was 2 consecutive team fights where Jackie didn't use his Zonias, where there was kind of suspect, initiates by St. Vicious, just being a little bit too manly when his team was really far behind. But I mean, you do have to make things happen. You do have to be aggressive, make things happen, and you try to come out ahead. But it just, they weren't really at a point where they could come ahead. And I think a lot of it comes down to, Udyr being such a beast in that late game, picking up that early Trinity Force. And once he picked that up, he was just able to go to town in every single one of those team fights. Morgana, really stellar play. Soul Shackles were on the spot every single time. Used that Zonias to really, draw fire away from the rest of her teammates for a little while, and Malphite of course had some great unstoppable forces throughout that game. So it is mTw.NA with the 1-0 lead. These are best of 3s for the